And the mama family feels. Oh, every single day she fams. Are you ready? I'm in the old gardens looking for potatoes, and I noticed there's some potatoes here. Oh, what is going on with these sweet potatoes? Oh no. Something hungry was underneath the ground there. Look at that. Look at these. Chewed to bits. Let's try this purple one right here. Maybe we'll have better luck. Maybe they don't like purple ones. Oh, that's a little better. Often with sweet potatoes, I wait until the very end of the season, like right before frost. But I don't have a garden set up at my new place yet, and I really have been kind of craving, you know, some homegrown stuff. So came back over here today to get some cuttings and check on the harvests and see what's going on. And so I'm gonna pull a few potatoes and see what we got. Maybe they'll get some more. We'll get some more that aren't chewed up. Something else chewed that. Something is going through here and feasting on the sweet potatoes. I came over here and buried all these. Got them from the ethnic market. I just buried them all in here, and now I'm digging them up for YouTube. Keeping it real. Oh, look at that! What a surprise! Look at that. How do you get potatoes this big in one spot, and then you get a scary monster one like that? Look at right next to it. There's a bad one. Something ate the bad one, left me the good one. That's fine. I'm okay with that. That's awesome. We'll just bring a few home for now. I'm gonna let them continue to get bigger because I'd like potatoes that are about twice as big as these. I'll just pull enough so we can eat them for the next couple of days' meals. I just figured out the point of this video. The point of this video is definitely, I planned this out ahead, that today we were going to talk about the root layer, the rhizosphere of a food forest or a grocery row garden system. So now that we've pulled some sweet potatoes, I figured out what the point of this video was, which I had planned ahead definitely. This is galangal, a ginger which has a remarkable aroma. It smells like the frangipani tree. And I want this in our new gardens. And this was planted a year and a half ago. My friend Elizabeth, who I call Liz, even though nobody else does. She says nobody's called her that in years and years and years, and that's not what she prefers to be called. So Liz gave me this galangal, and I think it's gorgeous stuff. We could wait until fall and pull it up, but I want to put it in my garden right now. Let's see what the roots look like. This clump has been spreading from one little piece over the last bit. Really loves the grocery row gardens. Let's see what we got. Come on. Go galangal! Galangal power! There you go. Let's see what we got. Oh, I can't see anything at all. There we go. There's the galangal. Right there. That's the ginger. And all we have to do is chop these pieces and plant them, and it'll continue to spread. Each one of these will become its own clump. And you know, they take up a little bit of space, but they bring a lot of beauty. And you get these delicious ginger roots from them. And if you get tired of them and you got way too many, you can always use the tops for chop and drop because there's a lot of leaf mass there. But even if you just had an ornamental garden, these blooms, when they really start coming in, they smell amazing. And it's a very pretty tropical. It's kind of in decline at this time of year, and it still looks good. One of the things that gets overlooked in a food forest system, or grocery row garden system, which is what I call my food forest under control system. In a food forest system, we often miss the calories of starches. You know, somebody might talk about, oh, you could grow nuts, you know, chestnuts or hazelnuts, things like that, and you can kind of replace grains with those, which is true, but you're talking about years into the future, usually before some of those things start to produce. And a lot of food forest systems are really heavy on fruit, apples and pears or oranges, or if you're down in the tropics, you know, jackfruit and mangoes, which is great. But a lot of us are not fruitarians. We don't really want to be fruitarians. You can fill in a lot of other dishes if you have roots. Roots are the fast way to produce calories, particularly, you know, if you're talking about doing a survival garden and your survival garden plans are based on a food forest, you're looking at 6, 8, 10, 12 years before the nuts and starches of that sort of system comes in, unless you're in a tropical climate and can do bananas and plantains and harvest them green. You're pretty much looking at a long-term thing. But in this very young system, which is less than 2 years old, we have already harvested hundreds of pounds of turnips, early, cold season turnips, rutabagas, and daikon radishes. Granted, you can't live on daikon radishes, but it is a root. And then a little later in the year, we had potatoes in here, white potatoes, red potatoes. They're fantastic. Now, later in the year, we've got this taro, or malanga, as they call it in Central America. And we have cassava in here. We have our sweet potatoes in here. We have the gingers in here. We've had onions and garlics. There are a lot of roots that we've pulled out of this system, and a lot of meals can be made that will keep you full no matter what. And you know, this mulberry hasn't produced the first mulberry yet, and this is a fast-growing tree. We're just waiting. And there are a lot of other trees in here waiting. We got a couple of peaches. That's it. But roots, wheelbarrows full of roots. So the food system is actually producing before. And it's easy to grow the greens. The greens are a nice layer in here. We've got all kinds of greens. We've got chaya, and we had turnip greens, and we've had the sweet potato greens. We've had other greens coming through here during the year, but those don't really fill you up. So the stuff that's going to fill you up, that's the roots. The root layer is really, really important. Let's look at a few more. Got some onions right here. Onions are a root. They don't fill you up per se, but they're very good for you, and they're really good to add to soups. We've got our turmerics over here. Turmeric is very, very healthy, very, very good for you, and it produces pretty quickly. There's the galangal that we were just pulling from. More sweet potatoes coming through here. More malanga / taro coming through here. If you're from Jamaica, you might call it dasheen. These cannas that my daughter sells in her Etsy store, we use them for biomass, but the roots are also edible. You could stew them, and that is a decent carbohydrate source right there. If you come back here, I have yams crawling up this trellis. This is Diascoria Bulbifura from Derek Clausen's nursery. This is a rare yam that I'm testing out. That will make an edible root beneath the ground. You could put in Apios americana, the ground nut. There's another good one. You can grow the greater yam, the lesser yam. Grow all kinds of yams. One of my favorites. If you are in a colder climate, you can grow the Chinese yam. There's more turmerics in here. Somewhere in here, oh, I walked right past it. Somewhere in here, I was going to say we have some arrowroot. This is arrowroot. Arrowroot's an easy to grow and a good edible, very digestible starch. It'll fill you up. That's good stuff. This is a cool part of the root layer. This is actually the above ground root layer, which is pretty weird. These are the Diascoria Bulbifura, the edible variety. The cultivated version of the horrible, dreaded air potato that's invaded Florida. This one you just harvest up in the air. So this is great if you can have them climbing on your trees, or you can make a simple trellis like this one. Cattle panel trellises work really well. And you can pick these off. And if we come down here, past this other root, this is Jerusalem artichoke, which is another edible root, though it will destroy your digestive tract. It's amazing. Worst experiences ever. Good to feed pigs, and then you eat the pigs. Or cows. These are the other one that I showed you in the previous video where I had my killer clown lens. These are the Chinese yam, as Eric Tonesmeyer calls them, Yamberries. These can be cooked and eaten just like potatoes. But the additional benefit of this species is that if you dig up beneath the ground, it has a big edible root beneath. So you're getting these above the ground, which you can eat during the season. You can eat these early. Then when it dies back in the winter, you can dig up a long, snaky root, which is, so far as I know, it's the only yam that you can eat raw. The other yams are a little higher in oxalic acid. I think it's just raining. I need an umbrella to put underneath to catch these guys in. But it's a multi-purpose. So you're getting your starch above the ground, and then you get some beneath. You gotta be careful with these guys. These are crazy. They're invasive. Unbelievable. Oh, it's terrible. I don't even know who would plant these things. Awful. They just showed up here. But it's a dual purpose food here. Beneath the ground and above the ground. And as the years go by, they make more and more bulbils because they get happier and happier, and they get a bigger and bigger root. So if you never harvest the root beneath, it gets stronger and bigger and stronger and bigger. And there you go. Good thinking. My children. Brilliant. So we just bounce them in here. We could get dinner pretty easily off of how many of these there are here. They're small, but they're prolific. It's like a berry starch. Oh, look in here, there's a whole bunch. Look at this. I've been wanting to do this. Last year I let them all grow, and I just took a few to plant, and they dropped a few on the ground. They started a few babies, but they didn't make a ton. But this year they already had a pretty good sized root in the ground, so they're really popping, and they're very pretty. Just don't plant them someplace where they're going to escape. Put them in the middle of your garden so they don't end up taking over your entire yard. See, I used to wonder why in the tropics you often saw a lot of food being eaten green. Like, why would the Thai eat green papaya? Why did Hondurans eat green bananas? Why did you see so much stuff harvested early when it's starchy rather than when it's fully ripe and sweet, where I would think, oh, that's the best? And then I realized, moving to the tropics, there's sweet stuff everywhere. There's sugar everywhere. There's so much sunshine. There's so much sugar that you kind of just want to eat something starchy for a change. You want something that is hearty and filling without always being sweet. So you harvest some things earlier. You grow lots of big roots that you could feed yourself on, you know. You can get tired of mangoes. There are thousands of pounds of mangoes falling absolutely everywhere, and thousands of pounds of papayas, thousands of pounds of bananas. You're like, you know what? I would like some starch. That's some good starch right there. Especially in new food forest systems, I like to tuck in cassava, which is also known as yucca. Y-U-C-A, not Y-U-C-C-A. Don't confuse it with yucca. Totally different. Yucca, cassava, tapioca, manioc, manihot, escalenta. This is a sweet variety of cassava. I have multiple different types. They're all sweet varieties. And these guys fit in really nice, especially in new food forest systems where you have a bunch of little trees. You can tuck these guys in all around through the system so they catch lots of sunlight. They like full sun. But no matter where your food forest system is, you can add roots as a matter of general principle. Now, I know some people will watch my videos and say, but that's so easy. You live in almost a tropical climate. You know, you've got like rainforest out there. Alabama is not really super friendly to some of these tropical roots, but I make it happen because I love them. But I'll tell you that generally, if you can grow white potatoes, you have a root available. You can grow beets and, you know, those big mangelwurzels. You can grow giant radishes, you can grow rutabagas, you can grow turnips, you can grow all kinds of roots in your food forest system that will fill your stomach. Parsnips, carrots. I mean, start thinking about roots. Figure out how you can fit them in, and you may have a season where you can grow them all the way through the summer because you have a cooler summer. My cool season vegetables are out and done. May, June, it's over. And then July, August, September, October, too hot. Sometime in October we start planting again, usually near the end. And then November, December we start to get those cool season roots again. And we only get potatoes in the spring, and only if the spring is nice to us. It gets often too cold and then too hot too fast. So think about where your roots fit in and what your climate is, and just apply it as a general principle. If you add roots to your food forest or your grocery row garden system, you've got those calories earlier on, and they make a lot more sense in most cases than grains. You can fit them into a smaller space, you can get more calories. If you're in a very cold climate, grains may be able, you know, that might be the only thing you're able to do, except for maybe white potatoes and Jerusalem artichokes. But as a general principle, fitting those roots in, they give you starches and calories. So if you're interested in creating a Florida food forest, check out my giant, massive book on creating your own Florida food forest, the hugely expanded 2nd edition. I think you'll enjoy it. And it'll help you anywhere up into Zone 8, but it's generally targeted specifically to Florida. It's generally specifically Florida. And the other book, if you're interested in how I created the system of food forest under control, that's the Grocery Row Garden System. That is an inexpensive little booklet. It's $9.99. It's called Grocery Row Gardening, and I'll put a link to both of those books below. Thanks for joining me. Think about your calories when you plant your food forest systems and what you're going to be eating this year, not 5 years from now. Plant all this stuff for 5 years from now, from 10 years from now. Plant like you're going to live forever, but you want to get food in right now in case we have a bad fall, if we have a bad spring, if things collapse. It feels really good to have a bunch of calories in the ground, and I know that I have lots of calories in the ground, and I want you to do that too. Catch y'all next time, and until then, may your thumbs always be green. Just one beautiful white potato, and that's it. Where's the rest of it? That's it?